So I'm going to start with a question to Harmony. Just kidding. No, don't worry.
Well, you don't need this, right?
No, you don't. You don't if I speak English. How would you describe this as a progression from Agrogrift, the film that you had in Venice a year ago?
It's a progression. It's a progression because since that movie, I discovered that nothing was real, and that it was all a fabrication, and that. I was like, oh, now I started to hang out with, we've been working with a lot of coders and engineers, and we're starting to notice certain things, certain glitches in the glitches in the matrix, and kind of, and I was starting to understand that actually it's all fake, it's all design, and then that freed me up. As an artist and we were kind of let's do something that feels like it has a real world creation, a sense of of kind of limitlessness, and so we wanted to create almost like a horror portal that was closer to an experience than it was maybe what you would call a traditional movie.
It's also a step further into the language of video game. In fact, it is. Yeah. It is in a video game. Why did you choose that?
Well, it's a game, but one of the things we haven't talked about is that when we release the film, there will be a way to watch it on you can watch it through your phone, but there'll be certain codes within the movie that'll take you to other movies. So the film actually, this is what you're seeing is just the base layer film, we'll call it, and then there'll be 3 or 4 others that you can watch simultaneously or afterwards that will kind of, you'll be able to play them. They'll have different points of view from different characters.
So it's an interactive quality?
Yeah, there'll be 3 or 4 other sub-films under the film.
Then there's a question here.
Hi, Harmony. Christian Pogadatz from Austria. So you've always been someone who tried to push the limits of what cinema can be, with Agrodrift and now Baby Invasion having a sort of video gamey feel to them. So what's the next step in your evolution of a filmmaker, and where do you feel it's the cinema future headed into?
I mean, I think the next step is going to just be, we'll be able to dream the movies. I think at some point, we're just working on technology now in the rooms where we'll be able to actually just go from thought to image, not even text to image or image to image. We'll be able to work on just basically dreaming movies.
There's a question here.
Hello. I wanted to ask you about distribution plans. What made you decide to distribute this kind of film in this way? Because I remember that Agrodrift had a special kind of distribution in the United States. What made you want to distribute the film that way?
I haven't even announced how I'm distributing it.
No, I was talking about your previous release, Agrodrift.
Oh, the last one?
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be cool. It was nice going to the strip clubs and, it just felt like the right time to hit it.
Can you and Joao possibly speak a little bit about the visual language and the choices you've made?
Yeah, so there's actually footage. The visual language, we made this kind of clone, and Joao can talk about it too, but and Gaspar even can talk about it, but we made it it was closer to a music where we were building over the course of a year layers. I knew that I had a lot of friends and people, and there's some of the actual imagery in the film that's actual real imagery of people raiding houses of friends and people that I know that we incorporated into the film. But I wanted to do, I like to play a lot of first-person shooter games, so I was like, why can't we just use that as a base template and then create this thing that was like a kind of a virtual portal into, in some ways it's a religious film and different layers of almost like it's like Book of Revelations or The Pale Horse, where you're entering kind of like these dystopian realms. and they coincide with different elements in gaming and lore of gaming, and obviously back rooms and all these kind of like visual portals that take you into like almost like a hypnotic trance-like state.
Joao? Mike.
I think, like many people mentioned, like many people mention, it is an evolution or continuation of AgroDrift's experimentation with game language. So in this one, it was really how to make a film with gameplay footage, but this gameplay footage that is both. I think it's gonna. I'm interested in seeing how it's going to be revealed or discover, like what's even to ourselves, like what's real, what's things that we found. And the interesting thing is how we weaved all into a film with even with like Gaspar's mysterious contributions and etc.
Gaspar, do you want to add something? I think that the choice of having baby faces on the invader is very visual. It's visually very striking.
Yeah.
It also seems to say something about youth, and a lot of your films have that really visceral impact, a relationship with the younger generation.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, also because it's horror, right? Because what they're doing is horrible, but they're also so cute. They're so adorable to watch, and so these little children are just such menace, just vile creatures. But it's also like a ride. The concept really comes from like the moment, this idea that people will in the future or even now start to live stream their crimes, and this is now entertainment in a lot of ways for people, and it's a form of clout, and then it's also there's elements of kind of with babies and birth and a kind of there's like also a spiritual element to kind of the rage.
Because of the first person identification, overlapping, there is an identification with the invaders, themselves. How did you negotiate? And it's something you and I discussed over the phone when I saw the film. The whole idea of empathy, because you have become them in a way, and so how do you want an audience to negotiate that?
I don't really have I want the audience, it's an experience. It's not even something to figure out or to, it's more meant to kind of wash over you. Some of the cast were actually people that tried to rob a lot of the people, friends of mine. Once they were arrested, then we cast them. And then it just kind of added that kind of extra sense of reality. And then we were also thinking about, a lot of us play first-person shooter games, and there's this obsession with reality and first-person shooters. So then we were like, maybe this is like the ultimate FPS.
Do you want to add something?
Yeah, it's, the process of making this film is really like, we build something, we show harmony, and then we realize we can push it so much further.
It's like because we do feel dead inside in a lot of ways, and so we're trying to push. We want to excite ourselves with this, right? Because no one is giving this to us, so we create it because it's an experience. You want something that's beyond a kind of simple articulation, and that goes into something that maybe is difficult to define, but it's more based in vibration than it is in a kind of logic. It's maybe post logic or something new.
Still, beside the invasion itself, the film has a narrative. You have a voiceover, and you do have the track running.
Yes.
So there is a commentary. There are multiple levels of.
No, totally. There's like 9 or 10 stories within the story. And
it's like Harmony mentioned, we have a room of engineers, and like their pastime sometimes is just going in these forums and learning about this, crazy stuff. but still Harmony is able to find out even crazier. I can't even tell what are the things that come from Harmony's brain and in the world building process, and what are things that he found that really exist. So even to me, that's really...
And we don't work with any scripts. There's no scripts. We just work with ideas. So there's absolutely no, there's concepts, and there's thoughts, and there's imagery, and there's story, but there's not scripts.
So how do you progress?
It's like layers. It's like, so for example, the first base layer was just security camera footage of robberies, just first person, just from a first person shooter perspective of just the robberies. It was very much set up like a play with hundreds of cameras, and then you would go through the actions, and they would last for hours, and there would be no directors, cinematographers. We would just wire the rooms. And then from there, you say, oh, you start to watch it and you feel, and then it started to build, and you're, oh, what's interesting is if there's skins for the characters that you could change, and it starts to, as the narrative progresses, these different kind of pop-up storylines in back rooms, and then this would be nice if it feels like more gameplay, and then we would add, obviously, all the kind of assets. We would create all the assets and everything to kind of, and then we would sit with that and then build it. It was mostly built in the rooms with technology and dreams.
And the voiceover you write when?
Yeah, the voiceover was written, but then, there was all these ASMR rooms on OnlyFans, and and this woman had this amazing voice, and so we just had her read the...
There's a question here.
Hi. So with your Aggro Drift and now Baby Invasion, you took a lot of inspiration from shooters and first-person shooter games. And for your future films, do you have in mind other genres or video games to take inspiration from?
I mean, it's endless, yeah. RPGs, we could do, it's kind of, it's not just gaming, it's also, and this idea of just movies even is maybe not even the right way to think about things. I'm not really even thinking about movies anymore. It's more kind of experiences. And one thing I would say to anyone that listens is you need to encourage, and Hollywood needs to, and they don't need to, but they would be smart to encourage the youth, the kids. And because what's happening in Hollywood, and you're starting to see Hollywood crumble, I think creatively, is that they're losing a lot of the most talented and creative minds to gaming and to streamers. Like I Show Speed is a movie. Kai Cenat is a movie. But really they're so locked in on convention. And then all those kids that are so creative are now just going to find other outlets and go other places, because movies are no longer the dominant art form. Always they were the dominant art form, but nothing is linear anymore. And so they're going to start to lose all the talent to all these other places. And film is going to, not all film, but a lot of film will just stagnate and be just huge IP or just this kind of very rarefied experience. But I Show Speed is, the new Tarkovsky.
How would you envision ideally Baby Invasion to be shared with, after you move on from here? Well, what's the idea?
How do we put it out? I think we're going to put it out in different ways. We're still planning it. Like I said, the movie will come out, and then there's 4 other movies under the film. So this is the base layer. Then you'll have, then you'll be able to scan QR codes with your phone, and then those will take you to games and other perspectives from other shooters and players in the film. So really the film itself, the whole thing is probably, we have, maybe 80 hours of film, but this is the base layer. So.
One question there.
Hello? Okay. Elise from Variety here. I know that Burial did the score for this.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about how he got involved.
I mean, Burial's amazing. It's a, you know, he's a legend. We love Burial. I don't actually want to say too much about that because I like respect his, but let's, yeah, we, you know, got in touch with each other, and I've never actually met Burial, and I've never actually spoken to Burial. So it's all done through Discord messages, and through, we both like, we kind of talk on PS5, so, and then the music was sent on in clips through PS5.
Did you send the
Yeah,
footage?
he saw,
sent-
yeah, he
so you
saw
saw the
he
footage,
scored the movie, yeah.
based on
Yes, yeah.
There's one there.
Hi, I wanted to ask, since your past film, Agri-Rift, and now this one are presented at this film festival, which is one of the main events for movies around the world, I was wondering, how do you reconcile your kind of pushing the boundaries of storytelling and like trying to merge video games and movies with presenting your movie at a film festival, which is like an institution in this area? How do you reconcile these two words that kind of seem like opposites in a way?
Yes, but opposites attract. And what we're doing is the greatest. And so we're just kicking up against it. And we have no fear. And it's all just what it is. Perfect.
What? Oh, there's one here. Bota il microfono.
I think a lot, when I saw the movie, I think a lot about trash humpers, like the concept of that film was upgraded in some way, like the thing you said about the records of shooting in POV, like an upgrade, but in this sense. You thought it in that way? You reminded about it, the movie?
What is that? I didn't hear. What was the reference?
Trash humpers. Trash humpers.
Duchamp?
Trash humpers.
Oh, trash humpers.
No, I wasn't thinking about Duchamp.
Ah, okay.
Duchamp?
No, trash humpers.
Trash
Oh, trash humper.
Yeah, sorry.
No. I wasn't. I don't think about any of the films. Everything is new. You start. I don't even watch my movies. I don't even like to know the color of my own eyes.
How would you describe the project that is behind your production company? You know, that this is the second work that you have done with it.
Yeah.
And what's the ambition and the scope that you want to
So
work in?
Edgelord is the company that we have in Florida, and Joao and Gaspar and many people. It's closer to like a design collective. It's half the company is really just based in technology and creating what kind of are an entry point into what's about to happen next. So it's a way that we can start to visualize what the future of, we can say, like nonlinear entertainment or design or aesthetics is, but it's all based in technology. So we're creating, you know, we're working with everything from VFX and gaming engines, artificial intelligence, and creating our own LLMs, and really like trying to basically push things in a certain direction. We want to be architects in a lot of ways of what's to come.
There's very little, you know, that happens outside of the rooms when we're creating these films and et cetera. And from the beginning, Harmony has always expressed, not as a director, but just expressed the idea of getting films out of thin air, you know, just like...
what we're trying to say is that like films, or this idea of conventional films, is ending. I mean, they're still going to exist, but we're just now, something is ending and something is being born. And so films, or what we call films, are changing, and there'll be experiences, and now we'll be able to experience them. You know, we're working on a horror movie right now that takes place in your bedroom, and the characters are in your house.
Which is Baby Invasion, or is it?
No, another thing. Yeah, we're building the technology. So where the movies actually take place in your house.
Now that you officially retired me, and all of us together, you used. There was a time in your work where you used to actually go out with a camera and film things.
Yeah.
And that relationship with the eye and the reality was very, very strong and very, very powerful. So I'm wondering if that is something you miss, or just the revelation you had that there is really no reality. It just nullifies that pathos, that empathy that works between the eye and the world.
Yeah, I don't, because it's really within the rooms, and we do, and we still do regular shooting, but we incorporate it into other, with other things. I still enjoy shooting things. It's just that now you start to really understand what the possibilities are, and the levels of world creation are starting to become limitless. In some ways, this is the most creative, most interesting time to be alive, to be a creator, because right now, for the first time, it's starting to feel like technology is really starting to be at the same level of your dreams, and your brain. And so it's exciting. It's overwhelming to a lot of people, but I think once you start to understand and see what's about to happen, then it's limitless.
Is there anyone else? I think we're okay. Okay, I think if you want to add anything, Harmony. Oh, there's one right there. Yeah.
I was just curious about what attracts you to shooting or making these pieces of art about violence or violent individuals.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a kind of a horror portal. A lot of the language of violence is very prevalent. Living in America, it's something that you almost you can become immune to. In some ways, it becomes part of the vernacular of not just horror, but just life. And so it's just it's just part of the lore of this film.
Okay, I think this is all we have time for. Sorry.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Gaspar. Thank you, Joao.
Thank you, Joao.
Woo!